In this tutorial, I'm going to go over some basics about using ink. Before we begin, I want to address how this ink will react with your sketchbook paper. Your paper will absorb the ink dramatically, so make sure you don't have any drawing on the back of your paper, and be prepared to sacrifice the following page or so. Now let's start with how to set up your palette. Use your disposable palette. I like to leave it attached to the board so the palette has a structure. Start by creating an ink pool. This is ink directly from the pot. Its pigment concentration is high. Then create a water pool on the opposing side of the palette. This is just pure water. Its pigment concentration is 0. To make washes with varying degrees of value, or in this case, varying levels of pigment concentration, you'll gradually add ink to water a tiny bit at a time. Never, I repeat, never create a wash by adding water to ink. The pigment in the ink is so concentrated that you would have to add a full glass of water, leading to a mess and wasted product. So now that that's clear, let's demonstrate a wash. I like to start with my brush wiped dry for more control. I dip a tiny portion of the brush into the ink and apply it to the water. Then I test out the wash. If the wash is too light, add more pigment. If it's too dark, I'll do one of two things. Add a little bit more water, or create another water pool and pull from the less concentrated pool. Now, why would I do this? Because if the concentration is too high, the amount of water I may need to add will be a lot, leading to a mess and wasted product. Remember to keep these pools from contaminating each other. I recommend having 3 pools with 3 different levels of pigment. A small pool of ink directly from the pot with high concentration, a pool in between low and high concentration, a pool mainly of water with low concentration. Essentially, this translates as a value system with low key, mid-tone, and high key. Experiment with this value system along with different line weights. Line weight with a brush can vary with brush angle, brush pressure, and brush speed. See if you can create a sense of depth while utilizing line weight with value. Cleaning a brush. Now, cleaning a brush isn't too complicated, but there are some things to know about brush cleaning. I always recommend using a soap. Because we're using water-based ink and cheap brushes, any soap will work. If available, I recommend some kind of dish soap like Dawn. Dawn dish soap works great for oil paint and nicer brushes. Notice the angle of my brush relative to the palm of my hand. See how I massage the brush against my hand? Then I pinch the soap, leaching out the pigment. Repeat this process until the soap appears clean. When the brush is clean, thoroughly rinse it in water to remove all of the soap. Check to see if there is any remaining soap in the brush by massaging it against your hand. Now, it's not uncommon to have a few brush hairs come loose with the first cleaning, especially with a cheap brush like this one. Because there will be loose hairs, I recommend cleaning it at least once before its first use. Now pinch dry, don't pull. Lastly, form the brush hairs to a point, then lay the brush on its side to dry. Contrary to popular belief, never dry a brush sitting up with the hairs pointed to the sky. This will cause the remaining water to seep down and will lead to more loose hairs.